Converted Man here. Hi. Where have I been? Oh, thanks for asking. I've been dealing with this thing called sleep apnea. It's had me awake and then asleep and then awake again and then asleep again, and it's screwing up my life. And apparently the way to fix it is to lose weight. So I don't know how to do that, but I gotta try somehow to do that. Anyways, that has nothing to do with the video I'm looking at. Well, I other than I mention it because I had to cancel a thing that I was going to do with Objective Ethics there, and that would have been fun, and I wanted to do it, but I was just like, I crashed, man. I was so tired. I barely was able to get to the email him and be like, I can't do it. And then I fell asleep. It was terrible. All right, so that's my complaint for the day. Well, not my only my complaint about myself for the day. But I haven't yet even started to complain about this video. So if you're just tuning in, Deconverted Man here. And, whoa, Striga and Robin in the house. Don't know Striga. So, okay. So, let me ask you a question. How many things do you think you can get wrong in a video? Like, if you tried to make a video where you got everything wrong. I don't know. But we're going to find out today. I think that this video, this guy, this is my theory, a hypothesis, really, I suppose. Not really a theory, hypothesis. Is that he wants to make a video where he gets everything wrong. And he succeeded, if that was what he was trying to do. So sit back, relax, or stand up and don't relax. I'm not in charge of you. You do you. But do prepare for insanity, because that's what's going to happen. Here we go.
Right now, you're being held down by an invisible force. You can't see it. You can't touch it. You've never directly observed it, but you believe in it completely. I'm talking about gravity. And here's the thing. The same reasons you believe in gravity are the exact same reasons billions of people believe in God.
Okay. Well, let me first fix the very first thing that he said was wrong. Gravity isn't just pulling me down. In fact, my body, and all matter for that matter, exerts gravity fields. Now, the mass that I am, as heavy as I might be, and I need to lose some weight, so I don't have sleep and everything after the complaints from before, is not enough to give orbit to anything else of any size that I could detect. The gravitational pull that the Earth has is far greater than mine. We pull each other. I pull very, very slightly on the Earth, and the Earth pulls very greatly upon me. And so in outer space, the astronaut will pull things towards them very, very, very slightly because all mass has gravity. So the first thing you got wrong is what gravity is. It's not just a force that is pulling down on us, but more like all things are pulling towards each other all the time. So, just a minor thing, really. I mean, And then the second thing that you got wrong is to say that the reason that we believe in gravity is the same reason that people believe in God. And of course, this equivocates the word belief. No, I do not believe in gravity in the same way that somebody believes in God, first and foremost. Secondly, no, the reason that people believe in God is varied from religion to religion and belief to belief. It is psychological in nature. It is cultural in nature. It has nothing to do, I hope, with indoctrination and attending a church service of some sort where you would be exposed to the idea of gravity. No one just says, hey, read a book and just know that gravity is true. And no any questions are allowed. Yeah, just accept that it's true. I hope that that's not going on. No, we can study gravity and we can test gravity and we can understand gravity. Gravity bends space-time. It's really cool stuff. So it is nothing like belief in a God, and also the third thing that you got wrong is to clump all the different gods together as if they're all the same, which they're not. There are different God concepts out there. So although a common word is God, you're talking about multiple different gods, which then infers that different beliefs lead to those different ideas of God. So therefore, you cannot conclude that people all believe in God for the similar reason of anything, let alone gravity, which is a total non sequitur. So that's 3 things he's gotten wrong. Let's try to keep count.
Now stay with me. I know you're thinking, this guy's about to give me some religious nonsense. But I'm not asking you to believe anything yet.
All right, well, fair enough. You're not going to give us religious nonsense yet, although you kind of already did, because you are saying that we believe in this thing in the same way that other people believe in this other thing, which is false. Already talked about that. But what this is really doing is a form of 2Q, which is you as well. It's the you as well fallacy. Well, somebody is sitting there smoking and says, hey, smoking will kill you. And you're like, but you're doing smoking. That's a 2Q fallacy. It is a you as well. It doesn't negate what they're saying. Yes, it's true. Smoking will kill you, and them being a smoker doesn't negate that statement. So if it was the case that everybody believed in something without any evidence of it at all, except for some loose effect, that doesn't mean that then, therefore, we should also believe in something else for the same reason. In fact, I'd say if there's anything that we believe in for no reason, we should drop that belief instantly and not believe it. In fact, I reject the notion that I believe in gravity. I don't need to believe in it. I know it's real because it's testable.
I'm just asking you to think about something. You already do every single day. You believe in invisible forces all the time. Gravity, Wi-Fi, love.
Okay, so I think was that 3 or 4? See, I already don't remember. I said, let's keep counting. I think it was like 3, but now it's 4, because he was wrong about that. And so so you believe in things? No, I don't, so you're wrong about that. So I'm counting that as 4. Now this is 5, 6, and 7. I don't need to believe in Wi-Fi, love, or thoughts because all of those are observable phenomena in some way, shape, or form. You can visualize Wi-Fi, by the way. You can even block Wi-Fi. You can certainly test Wi-Fi. Love, that's a little bit harder. You're going to need some sophisticated instruments there. But hypothetically speaking, you could get your head hooked up to some wires and into a machine, and we could record your thoughts as you're thinking about love. We could test the chemicals in your brain, and we could do some sort of science there to figure out that love is going on. And, we could demonstrate that. Again, it's testable. And also the way that we treat each other if we treat each other nicely, you can call that love to some extent. Maybe not romantic love, maybe friendship love, but still, it's demonstrably demonstratable in that we can show that we care about each other. So I don't need to believe in that. And thoughts are a thing that we actively do. So I don't need to believe in that because it is a thing that I do all the time. And also thoughts can be demonstrated with, scanning the brain. That would, I think, show thoughts. And now they're developing ways to visualize thoughts on computers. This has been an ongoing thing they've been trying to do to record dreams or things like this. So that's pretty cool. And I'm guessing that they're probably going to use AI to make that even better or maybe worse. But nonetheless, so all of these things are testable. All of these things can be demonstrated to actually be things. And none of these things are things I believe in because they're all real. And I don't need to believe in them. So, seven things you're wrong about. Cool.
Thoughts. You can't see any of these things directly, but you trust they're real because of their effects. Do you not?
No, I do not. I do not trust things in this way. So this is an extraordinary loaded question that you're asking. And I'm going to count that as being wrong. So now we're at 8.
So, let's talk about the evidence. Because if you're the kind of person who thinks believing in God is irrational, you might want to reconsider. Let's start with gravity. You've never actually seen gravity, right?
Correct. But there is plenty of tests to demonstrate gravity, and it is a known phenomenon that you got wrong.
You've seen things fall. You've seen planets orbit. You've seen water flow downhill, but you've never seen the force itself.
Well, the force itself is the effects. The force itself cannot be visualized. That is correct. We can try to visualize it, but yeah, we can't observe the force of gravity. Although somebody could maybe make a machine to do that. I don't know that if that would or wouldn't be possible, but we see the effect of it all the time. So yes, we observe the effect and we name the effect gravity. So what you got?
What you've seen are the effects of gravity.
No, the effect is gravity. You're getting, okay, that's 9 now, I guess. So no, the thing that pulls things to each other, we labeled that gravity. You are literally seeing gravity when you see something fall. As you put it, I'd say attracted to each other because of mass, but whatever. That's gravity. Yes, when you see something falling, that is gravity. That isn't the effect of gravity. That's gravity.
The apple falls, the moon orbits Earth, your coffee stays in the cup. These effects are so consistent, so predictable, so universal that you can conclude there must be an invisible force causing this. Don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, based on the observations and data that we have gathered, we have said, hey, look, we're going to label this thing gravity. And this is what we can do with that labeling. We can make all sorts of predictions, and seeing that those predictions come true, we can then be confident that our understanding of reality was correct. And if those predictions fail, then we have to revise the theory. In fact, it's called the theory of gravity. So, just saying, I guess you kind of got this wrong. So, 9, 8, 9, oh, damn it. I knew I was going to lose count.
Nobody calls you irrational for believing in gravity.
That's correct. So I guess you're upset that people are calling you irrational for believing in God. I don't do that. Well, depends on what God you're talking about. But whether you're irrational or not, that doesn't mean that you couldn't be right, by the way. Um, there are rational reasons psychologically and society wise, socially speaking, to believe in anything, let alone God. There's extraordinary social pressure to believe in God, and there might even be political pressure to believe in God. There might be a threat of force against you for not believing in God, at least publicly proclaiming God, if secretly you don't believe it. So, there's all sorts of reasons for professing God or believing God that you could say are rational, but not logical. But anyways, just...
Nobody says, prove it exists. Show me gravity in a jar.
Well, gravity in a jar is the jar. It is being affected by gravity all the time. So if you show me a jar, yes, you are showing me gravity.
Because we all understand that invisible forces can be real if their effects are observable and consistent.
Yes, and also part of that is predictiveness. Can you make a prediction based on the ideas of gravity? And you can.
Now, here's where it gets interesting. The same logic applies to God.
We'll see about that. So, can you test God? Can you make any prediction based on God? What do you mean by God, by the way? Because there's lots of different God concepts. So we don't know which God you're referring to.
Think about the universe for a second.
Only a second? Okay, I thought about the universe. And cool, it's a universe. And
everything that exists. Stars, planets, DNA, consciousness, the laws of physics themselves.
Well, look, when you say everything that exists, you don't need to follow that up with a list. Like, yeah, you said it's really hard for me to think about everything that exists. I mean, that's a lot of things. But, no, you didn't need to clarify, here's some things you could think about. But it is interesting what things you did list off to consider, because these are kind of typical apologetic talking points. Anyways, I don't know. Not anything wrong, but I wanted to point it out.
Had to come from somewhere. The universe had a beginning.
Okay, so number 20. I don't know what number we're on. Yeah, remember I said we're going to keep track of it? Yeah, we're not going to do that. All right, so I think this is 11. Doesn't matter. No, actually, and also maybe. We don't know is the actual real answer in regards to the universe. Cosmologists haven't sorted this out. This is still an ongoing discussion. I know if you just Google it and you have a surface level understanding of things, you'll see, Big Bang equals beginning of the universe. Not exactly, though. And I don't know why so many pages simplify it down to that level. I think that actually does everybody a disservice. I think we need to raise our bar and demand that we explain it the right way. I don't know who to write or complain to do that, but I'm just saying, this needs to be... Anyways. But no, we don't know that there was a beginning of the universe in this sense that I think you're trying to mean it.
Big Bang confirmed this.
No, the Big Bang did not confirm that the universe has a beginning. The Big Bang talks about a singularity. That's not necessarily a beginning to universe. It kind of depends what you mean by universe. If the singularity is still the universe, which I guess it would be, then, the Big Bang doesn't say that there was a beginning to the singularity. It just says what happened after the singularity, not before it or anything like that. So No, it doesn't say what you thought it said. So that's number, damn it, whatever, 12, 5, whatever number it is. It's going to be a good running gag to have the number climb up, but whatever.
The universe is fine-tuned for life. Change any constant by 1/1000th of 1%.
Okay, so this is complete and utter lie. This is not true, even a little bit. This number comes from nothing. He made it up. This number doesn't appear anywhere. This is a logical fallacy known as appeal to meaningless statistics. There's no citations in its description because why would there be? Why would he bother to try to say anything? So the so-called fine-tuning is something that apologists have grabbed onto and run with. They really think that it means something, but they don't have any degree in cosmology or mathematics to really, truly understand that it doesn't mean what they want it to mean. They think that it means the universe is fine-tuned for life, and that's not what it means, even a little. The constraints that he's talking about, some of them are wildly flexible and others are not. So he's just wrong about this completely and fully, and this number is completely made up, so he's wrong about that as well.
And we don't exist. Life contains information. Your DNA is literally coded instructions. Humans have consciousness, morality, purpose.
Okay, so the sort of instructions that I think you think that it has aren't. Yes, things have information, but what that means is different than what I think you think it means. But, okay, you were right about that, sort of, and then you went off to purpose, which purpose is subjective. We don't have the best you could do to say the purpose of humans would be all living life is simply to live and potentially reproduce. That would be like the only objective purpose that you could squeeze out of existence. All else is subjective, but not everybody has this purpose idea. Like, not everybody needs it or wants it. Some people are quite content to live their life without, purpose, quote unquote. Maybe they never thought about it in that way, or maybe they don't need to think about it in that way. It's something that some people want and other people have or need or whatever, but it's not a universal idea. And it does appear to be something that is made up by humans as a desire rather than an actual thing that we can, like, you might be able to achieve your purpose depending on what you set your purpose to be. Now, I have kind of a flexible view of this. My purpose changes from moment to moment. Right now, my purpose is to make this video complaining about all the things you got wrong. And then after I'm done with the video, then my purpose will be something else. But that's not what you probably mean by purpose.
These aren't religious claims. These are observable facts.
Well, the last one I would think is kind of a religious claim in a sense, because purpose is highly subjective. But like that, I'd say that that's the logical fallacy of half truth, because it's kind of true that people think that they have purpose, but it's not fully true in that we don't really have like objective purpose. But you didn't say objective or subjective, you just said purpose, so it's hard to know what you mean. But just going by some of this other guy's videos, I don't think he knows what he's talking about. Like this is very basic level stuff that he's getting wrong. So anyways,
that scientists across all beliefs acknowledge.
Okay, I would need to see a peer-reviewed paper that acknowledges purpose in humans. I mean, maybe it exists, but I'd love to see that.
Now, just like with gravity, we're looking at effects and asking, what's the best explanation? For gravity, we see things fall. We conclude there's an invisible force. for the universe.
Okay, the best explanation of gravity is not the conclusion that there's an invisible force, but it is the fact that mass produces it. So, and like, I'm not going that deep either, because I mean, this is kind of almost beyond my level of understanding on what gravity is, quote unquote. But certainly this guy is getting it wrong. And the best explanation for all the things that you mentioned are all natural. Everything that you mentioned, let's see, the DNA, consciousness, what else did he mention? The so-called fine-tuning, that's a thing in science, sort of, but he gets it wrong because all apologists do. You know, what else did he say? He had like a list. Well, whatever. Anyways, the best explanation for all, in fact, not the best explanation. There's only just explanation. There's no ranking explanation in my book. I just don't. I don't see that having a value. It's either an explanation or it's garbage. It either works or doesn't. And this, so what we know works is the natural laws of the universe as we see them. That explains things pretty darn well. Evolution explains like all the different things to do with life, including consciousness, and none of that needs any other explanation than the laws of the universe. And the universe itself, what the explanation for that is, might indeed be a mystery right now, and maybe will always be a mystery, but we must not must not fill in that mystery with, oh, that means God did it. No, it doesn't.
What's the best explanation? For gravity, we see things fall. We conclude there's an invisible force. For the universe, we see design, order, information, consciousness.
Okay, so we see design. No, you see design, or you might infer design. And unless you're talking about something that is made by an animal or a person that we can then say is designed. And we'll go to my arrowhead analogy, because this is my analogy that I like for doing this sort of thing. You find on the ground a arrowhead, or what appears to be an arrowhead. Now, this right here on the far left here, we'll just go with that. This could just be a rock that happens to look like an arrowhead, or it could be shaped by people, a few thousand years ago to be an arrowhead. I'm not an expert. I would have to consult with an expert to have them do whatever tests they need to do to determine whether it is or isn't an arrowhead. This actually kind of looks to me more like an arrowhead made by people because there's rough edges and so on. But I'm no expert. I don't know. This on the far right here, could be an arrowhead, or it could just be a rock that came that way. I don't know. So the problem is, if you see something and you think it's designed, you could be wrong. Unless you're an expert in the field of arrowheads, you're not going to have the tools necessary to know what is or isn't an arrowhead. You might guess correctly, you might speculate correctly, but you might be wrong. So you'd have to give it to somebody that knows what the hell they're doing. Likewise, I don't know anything about rocks, so I would send the rock to a geologist. I know Steve, good old Steve. He would know what to do with it, how to look at it, how to understand what the bleep it is. I wouldn't. He's the expert, so I'm gonna send it to him. I don't know. But if you see something and you think it's designed, then you have to fulfill certain requirements to know it's designed. There's a methodology that scientists use to determine what is telltale signs of design versus what are not telltale signs of design. And that methodology depends on which field you're talking about. It's different for every field. I have yet to hear a single apologist explain what the hell their methodology is in regards to how to decide that everything is designed. Because that would be the theist posit, not just that rocks are designed. Even if they're random, they're still designed because God made them that way. So there would be nothing not designed anywhere. And then there's no way. And so it's like, well, then you point to something like that was designed by humans versus that was designed by God, right? And that would be the best you could do there. But you would still need a methodology for that. Anyways, just saying. Where were we? Here we go. So I don't see design. You do. Order is kind of a loaded thing. I don't know what you mean by order. Some things are orderly, but other things aren't. I don't consider black holes very orderly.
Information, consciousness.
Okay, again with the information. Yeah, but what do you mean by information? Consciousness is, yeah, that's easily understood through evolution. So it's like he's acting like these things are unknown or unexplainable or something. And even if they were unexplainable, that still doesn't mean God did it.
What's the conclusion? Some say it's all random chance.
Nope, not anybody that I know of. I don't know of a single person that's ever said that. Honestly, I don't. Except for theists. The only people that seem to say this are theists. No non-believer that I'm aware of has ever said random chance by itself. We always, I hope, well, we should if we don't, say there's a filtering mechanism. And the filtering mechanism present, depending on what you're talking about. If you're talking about cosmology, there's a filtering mechanism of how elements can or cannot form. And there's a filtering mechanism of what elements can and cannot combine. And so that is a filtering mechanism of a sort. And then if you're talking about life, then you have a filtering mechanism of death. And again, you could look at it as like either the parts work together or they don't. So I get that there's this desire, very human desire that people have to say, well, why does it fit together at all? Like, why does carbon, like, it loves having 4 different things attached to it? Why is carbon like that? I don't know. That's just what carbon is. But why? It loves stuff. Carbon is the whore of elements. It just is. Okay, I'm sorry. As anybody that likes carbon, I know we're based mostly on carbon, but carbon just will sex up with any element it can, just about. And it wants lots of them. And I don't know why, but it does. And it can combine with a whole bunch of elements. It's just, it's just a big old, it just likes it. It's just, it goes every way. It's left, it's right, it's gay, it's heterosexual, it's both, it's everything, It's just a slut. I'm just saying. Carbon will sleep with anything, just about. There's a few things that it won't, but I guess it has some standards. But look, I'm insulting carbon, and I really shouldn't, because I know that Answers in Atheism appreciates carbon, but I just I have a low view of it. Anyways, but look, there is no why there, as far as I know. Of like it's Lego. It's like, oh, it's a Lego piece and it fits with this Lego piece. Yeah, it fits with a bunch of Lego pieces. And if those things make a thing that are useful or that can connect to something else, then they do. And if not, then they don't. And that's just how it is. So there's a constant, continual filtering mechanism at play that isn't randomness. And also, I don't know that randomness is even a thing at all, period. I think that randomness is a concept that we invented, but I don't know that there is a true randomness at all. it could be. I don't know. I don't know how you would go about showing randomness. I'm a gamer, board gamer, card gamer, video gamer, and a wise man told me about dice. He said that dice have no memory but a horrible sense of humor. And this referenced the fact that the number 7 should be rolled more often than anything else. But when you need to roll that, you don't roll it. That we had a bell curve for, all the numbers. And it's like, okay, the only way that I could fail this roll for my guy to kill your guy is snake eyes. And that's highly improbable. And dang it, it rolls snake eyes. And I go, okay, well, that sucked. And now my guy takes damage on top of everything else. But my next guy, it is impossible that I'm going to roll snake eye. I rolled snake eyes, son of a gun. And that's when you take your dice and you punish them. And you have to punish the dice because they know what they did. They deserve to be punished. But if your dice roll good, you reward them. And I'm not kidding. Gamers would talk about how they punish their dice and stuff. I would just be mad at them and then roll different dice. But that didn't work either because I'd still get snake eyes 4 or 5 times in a row. And the odds are just laughing at you. And randomness is yeah, whatever. I don't know. But anyways, I don't know if it's a thing or not. And I went off on a tangent. So yeah, it's all this guy's fault. But also the casino thing, that's also not random. It's actually rigged so you lose.
But here's the problem with that. Randomness doesn't create information.
Yes, actually it does. And it does that all the time. And I have to bring up the Gallatin board again, I guess. I mean, you all have seen that. I've brought that up many times, but okay. So yeah, I'll just put that in the chat, and if you want. So it's a thing called the Gallatin board, Galton board, and it shows chaos descending into order. So checkmate. Anyways, you're wrong about that.
Explosions don't create order.
Okay, so I guess he thinks that the Big Bang is an explosion because he doesn't understand what that means. I guess that's what this is referring to. But actually, no, explosions do create order. They create order really, really well. And there's a clip, and I think I can show it. And not get copyright. I don't know what happens. I don't know. It's from Mythbusters. Maybe they'll copyright me, but I'm doing it for purposes of commentary. So we've got a cement truck here. Now, in my view, the cement truck is extraordinarily disorderly because the natural state of things is to be nice and smooth, like the rest of the things around here. See all that rocks, or they smooth that road down. That's order right there. Those rocks, those are disorderly. That cement truck is rather disordered. But here comes explosion, and the explosion says, you know what? We're going to turn that into order. Bye. Goodbye. That thing is now very, very orderly because now there is no more cement truck. There's just nice flat ground again. So I think that explosions do, in fact, create order. Entropy is what we're talking about. Everything decays to entropy. Life is a constant fight against entropy, and entropy is always going to win. The whole universe is fighting against entropy, and unless we do something about it, it's going to win eventually. I don't know that humanity can put aside any of our differences to fix any of that sort of stuff. But at any rate, explosions do create order, just not the sort of order that you might like. So you're wrong about that too.
Chaos doesn't produce fine tuning.
Well, that's just incoherent. And also, there's no reason to say that chaos couldn't produce it. You're just saying stuff.
When you see a book, you don't think the letters
Oh, come on. The book analogy. So now it's just an appeal to analogy. So this is, of course, the watchmaker argument.
randomly arrange themselves, do you?
Yeah, but if you had an infinite amount of books with an infinite amount of different letters arranged infinitely different, eventually you would have a book. And in fact, if you had that, there's this library idea that it's like the library of all the information. All the information. What is it called? Come on. Google. Library of Babel. Okay. So it's Borges, whatever. However you want to say this guy's name. This is an idea, and somebody like made a website that sort of mimicked this, and you could go anywhere. Let's see. Here we go. Yeah, I found it. Library of Babel. So this thing is pretty neat. I believe this is the one I was thinking of. So you can browse it, you can search it, you can hit random, you'll find something. So already I see the word off there, and that's just, this is just all randomly generated. But the cool thing is although it's random, like you can like find something like, hi, I'm Deconverted Man. I think. I don't know. Okay. Maybe that's not how you search it. Like, how do you find? There's one that you can find. Anyways, whatever. That might not be the Library of Babel. Find any text I type. Where is it? Come on. String into the search bar. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, but how do I? Here it is. It's a different part of the website that I didn't know how to get to. That's. But I found it through Google. It's so weird. Okay, I don't know. So I'm gonna say Deconverted Man is right, and this guy is wrong. And you hit search, and it will find that. And the exact match is here, and then, it's on this page somewhere. See, right here. It's page 254 of 410 in this book, whatever. And so that, you can find everything there. It all exists, and it's all randomly generated. There's a whole thing about that website and how it works. It's really cool. It's amazing. So it disproves everything that this guy is saying. Anyways,
When you see a computer program, you don't think the code wrote itself.
Well, no, but that's not what DNA is.
When you see a watch,
Yeah, the watchbreaker analogy. We knew that it was going there.
you don't think it assembled by accident.
Right, because we know how those things work. We also know how humans came to be. It's through the process of natural selection and evolution. And you, I guess, don't understand that in part or whole, and probably reject it if you do understand it. More than likely, I don't know, but I'm guessing. But we understand that we humans and DNA are not designed. There's zero design there. And part of why we know that beyond just evolution is if you really, really insist that it's designed, then it's a really crappy designer because it's overly complicated, and simplicity is the hallmark of design.
So when you see DNA, which is literally a code more complex than any software ever written.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but also it's not the same sort of code, so you're just mixing metaphors here.
Why would you think it has no designer?
Because it doesn't have a designer. It is a result of biological evolution. We know this. We understand this. You don't. So you then infer design because you don't understand it. That's an appeal to ignorance.
Here's the second part of the gravity analogy: consistency. Gravity works the same way everywhere. In New York, Tokyo, Mars, doesn't matter. Drop something, it falls. This consistency is why we trust it's real.
No, again, it's not about consistency. It's about observation and data gathering and making a hypothesis and making a theory and then testing that. That's how we can know something is real, via testing and study of it. So can we test God? Because so far I don't think we can test God.
Is it not? Now
No.
look at moral laws.
Moral laws. What moral laws are you talking about? There are no moral laws. What are you referring to?
Across every culture, every time period, every society, humans have an innate sense of right and wrong.
Well, that's not exactly true. I'd say that this is a half-truth and a very sloppy one. Okay, I guess he doesn't know about the Aztecs. So I guess I'm going to have to educate him about the damn Aztecs. So this was a culture, and correct me if I'm wrong, because, sometimes I'm wrong, but they used to sacrifice humans. And they had, and this might be, maybe it's a different culture, but anyways, they had a big old temple, and it had a lot of stairs going all the way to the top. And so the dude or woman, whatever, would get pulled to the top. Now, I don't know if they went willingly or if they were dragged there. Maybe a mixture of both. But at any rate, they'd chop off the head, and the head would roll down the stairs really cool, blood going out. Boop, 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 boop. There it goes. Wow. And they did this to please their gods. And they thought this was perfectly fine. Now, I don't think that that's good, but they did. So why did they think that was good and I don't? Unless this whole idea is not really true. Different cultures have different ideas of what is good or bad. And as we develop as a collective, those ideas will morph over time. The best we could hope for is to ground ethics in a logical framework, like I tried to do in my book, Logic and Morals. I believe Sam Harris also has taken a swing at this. I don't know if he has a book about it or not, but his thing is human well-being or something like that, human flourishing, or and that's kind of where mine is too, that we need each other, so we might as well work in ways that benefit each other. And what that means and how that plays out, that's the tricky part. But at least we've grounded it in something. So we could ground our ethics in the idea that we want to continue to exist as a species. And then that will lead us to do actions that get to that goal. Hopefully, ideally speaking, so, well, what will allow us to exist as a species? Well, taking care of the planet and not polluting it, for one. That, why don't we just switch to nuclear power already? Like, what's keeping us back? Well, we know the oil and coal industry, they've continuously been holding us back from doing that. We know that. So there isn't any real reason why we couldn't just be completely nuclear power. Well, I mean, some wind farms, some solar, some, and then in Japan, they've got a plant that generates power from water, mixing with salt and clear water, or salt and non-salt water, and making power that way. I'm not sure how that works, but that's pretty cool. And of course, they're trying to figure out fusion, which would be really cool. But in the meantime, we need to power the world, so nuclear power seems like the best option. And yes, the waste is a problem, but it's less of a problem than all the other ones are by far. So why don't we just do that? Well, we can't just, snap our fingers and do that. I suppose if the president and Congress said, hey, let's do this by the end of, whatever year, that, they could pass some legislation that tried to make it a law. I don't know how that would play out or if that would really work, but I suppose they could. I don't know. But at any rate, we've got to do that to enable us to survive as a species. We have to stop polluting. Then we have to figure out a way to get rid of the pollution that we already have somehow, which is a whole nother problem, and so that objective framework is easy in my head to think about, but it's hard for me to get other people to go along with it because they might Robin might have her idea of how to run things. It's like, if you were in charge, what would you do? It's like, oh, there's all these things to fix, where to begin, and well, it's a tough thing to try to fix everything. You can't. You need other people to do. Look, you're get the scientists to work on the fixing the power stuff, and get another group of smart people working on how to fix education, and hire all the different people to do because you can't do it all yourself. But at any rate, so yeah, big long tangent. But anyways, we don't need God for any of that. And certainly what he said is incorrect. So that's really all I was trying to say with everything I said. It's just there isn't this innate sense of right and wrong because it fluctuates throughout time and culture. So he's wrong.
Murder is wrong.
Well, murder is illegal, but does that mean it's wrong or it's just illegal? And see, the funny thing about murder is, it's funny and not funny, is if it's not illegal, it's not murder. Killing somebody is not murder if it's legal. So, and we talk about maybe like assisted suicide, and this is something I think that we should definitely allow, the right to die, as it's called. And it's like, yeah, death with dignity, that'd be good, and so people have had to fight for this, and so if it's allowed, if it's legal for the doctor to give the patient whatever the thing is, or let the patient give it to themselves or whatever, and it's a way to just go to sleep and not wake up again or whatever, then it's not murder, and then it's not wrong. So this is a loophole here. Protecting children is right. Well, protecting children is beneficial to society. So I guess I would agree with that.
Protecting children is right. Justice matters.
That's kind of vague, and what justice means depends on the person. There's different theories of justice too. That's a whole nother discussion. Does it make sense for us to send everybody that does anything wrong to jail? And I don't think it does. I think that the penalties for things do not make sense. They're overblown for a lot of crimes that they shouldn't be. Marijuana is often brought up. We could legalize drugs, and that would be somewhat of a problem. We need to have a system that helps people to do drugs in a way that is not going to steer them off to being addicted. That if they want to experience a high, that they go somewhere and get it done safely. And I think that there's ways we can do that make sense. We need to make sure people don't drive high, even on marijuana, because that slows your senses down. So, there's going to be rules around these things. But what justice is? Does justice mean punishment? Some people think it does. Other people think it means, you stepped on my foot, so I should be able to step on your foot. But we say no, you can get money for the amount of suffering that you dealt with. And that amount of money is arbitrary. So should we set that in stone? Maybe. I don't know. So this is the idea that justice is universal is just wrong. But yeah, it matters.
Love is valuable.
Well, I mean, it can be, but love can also be tragic and a waste of your energy, especially if you're addicted to it. Love is a chemical that happens in your brain, and when you love somebody, you are simply just used to that person, and your brain doesn't want to let it go, and it's not fun. I don't recommend it.
This isn't taught, it's hardwired. Even cultures that never contacted each other develop similar moral frameworks. Why?
No. Cultures, no, they don't. What are you talking about? Different cultures have vastly different moral frameworks. And even on a global scale, we still have different moral frameworks. What the hell are you talking about?
Why? If we're just evolved animals.
We are evolved animals. And to be reductionist and saying if we are just, yes, we are just what we are. We are just spirits. Deep down, we're all just spirit stuff. And then because I said that, then I can extrapolate from that sentence the next thing that I'm going to say. This is bad logic 101.
Why do we care about justice?
Some people don't care about justice, by the way. And again, what justice means depends on the person. But monkeys also care about equity and fair treatment. We are evolved apes. Whether you like evolution or not, and obviously you don't believe in it. Obviously, I thought that might be true at the beginning, and I was right. We are evolved animals, and we are animals, and that's what we are. And the reason why we care about justice, some of us, is because of empathy and because it is part of evolution to do so. So that you don't understand this doesn't make you right about anything, let alone God.
Why does cruelty bother us? Why do we feel guilt?
Because these are emotions that people have.
Lions don't feel bad about killing.
You don't know that.
Sharks don't wrestle with morality.
You don't know that either.
But humans do. Universally. Consistently.
I don't know. I did see a video where an 8-year-old girl or boy that had killed their brother or sister and felt absolutely nothing about it. Sometimes called a sociopath or psycho. I'm not sure. Sociopath or psychopath. I'm not sure what the correct version is anymore. But they had no feelings. They did not. The killing was just something that happened. They're like, yes, this is something I did just to see what would happen. I stabbed them. I watched them die, and it was just, it wasn't like it was interesting. It was just different. They didn't have any emotions at all about it. They cannot possess these emotions. Their brain doesn't have that. So this idea is wrong because there are some humans that do not have the capacity to have any feelings at all, which makes sense under evolution. Does it make sense under God? Yeah, that's another way to think about it. If God existed, why are animals forced to kill to live? Yeah, if morality is so darn important to God, why does it only matter for humans? Why wouldn't the sharks also display moral behaviors? Wouldn't that be more proof of God? So this is like the humans have morals, but no other animal does. Therefore, God. Well, wait a minute. Wouldn't it be that the default state should be that nobody has morals then? Or it just doesn't make any sense. Nothing he says is true so far. Everything he has said has been wrong.
The best explanation? There's a moral lawgiver.
Nope, that's not the best explanation, because that would not explain why animals don't possess those morals then. Why humans and not other creatures? So you're picking that humans are special somehow. This is just utter nonsense. Oh my goodness. What number are we on? Did anyone keep track? I know I stopped a while back. It would have been great to have a number now. I'm thinking it's in the 30s.
Just like physical laws point to a lawmaker, moral laws point to a moral source.
Nope, they don't. There are no moral laws, and if there were moral laws, it would point to humans at best, or evolution. And so, no, this is just incoherent.
You can't see the source any more than you can see gravity.
But you can test gravity, but you can't test this idea because it's wrong.
But the effects are everywhere. Here's the last piece. Personal experience.
Oh, no.
You believe in gravity partly because scientists tell you it exists.
No, I do not. Again, this is wrong. I know gravity exists because it's an observable phenomenon that is testable and understood, not because scientists said so. This is just absolute garbage.
But mostly because you experience it.
Nope. Again, by the way, me experiencing something doesn't mean that it's real necessarily. I experienced a dream, but that doesn't make that dream real. I mean, it's really a dream I had, but it's not something that really happened. It happened in my imagination. This guy's confused.
You feel it when you jump. You see it when things fall. It's not just theoretical. It's real to you. Billions of people say the same thing about God, not because they're stupid or...
Yeah, they say things about different gods, though. And some people say that about aliens, an alien abduction. And some people believe that the world is flat. And people believe in all sorts of nonsense all the time. That doesn't make it real. It just means humans are really good at imagining things.
Brainwashed, but because they've experienced something.
Well, they might have experienced something not all believers have, but that experience is, again, explainable through natural phenomenon and not through God.
Changed lives, answered prayers.
Answered prayers, bullshit. Metadata studies have shown that intercessory prayer has less effect than random chance. So prayers don't get answered.
A sense of presence, transformation that can't be explained by...
Yes, it can be explained.
Psychology alone.
It absolutely is explained by psychology.
Now, you might say, that's just subjective.
Well, no, I would say that all of this is logically incoherent to its core. It's factually incorrect and scientifically inaccurate.
That's not evidence. But wait.
Yeah, nothing you have said is evidence.
Your experience of gravity is also subjective.
No, it is not. My experience of gravity is certainly not subjective. You're an idiot.
You feel it. You see its effects on your life. Nobody can prove that your experience of gravity is real.
What? Yes, they can.
You just know it is.
No, that's not how things work.
Do you not?
No, I do not.
The same applies here. Millions of people across cultures, backgrounds, and time periods report experiencing the same thing.
No, they do not. They report experiencing different things that might be labeled God, but not necessarily labeled God. Lots of people, I experienced a dream. Should we all worship my dream? I mean, I can't tell you what it was about on YouTube. I mean, I could talk about it, but I wouldn't be on YouTube anymore. Let's just say that it was and I want to dream that again. It was a good dream, man. I want that dream again. Hey, brain, give me that dream again.
Maybe that's evidence worth considering.
It's not evidence.
So here's where we land. You believe in gravity
Nope.
because you see its effects.
No, because it's demonstrably testable.
You see it's consistent. It's the best explanation for what you observe. You experience it personally.
No.
Billions believe in God for exactly the same reasons.
Nope. Incorrect, as I already explained. So, are we done yet?
They see consistent effects.
No.
Design, color, morality, consciousness.
Color?
It's the best explanation for what we observe.
No, it's not. It's not an explanation at all.
And they experience it personally.
They may or may not experience something that they think is God.
I'm not asking you to believe anything today. I'm just asking you to be consistent.
Oh, I am. Unless there's empirical evidence, repeatable test, or a valid and sound argument, I'm not going to believe in anything that you say. And here we had no test at all, no empirical evidence, and nothing but a bad argument. So, for those reasons, I must be skeptical of your conclusions. Is he done yet? No, he's got more to say.
With your own logic.
No, there is no my own logic. There's only logic that doesn't belong to anybody.
If you're willing to believe in invisible forces when the evidence points to them, then maybe the evidence for God deserves the same honest consideration. Does it not? What do you think? Drop a comment. And if this made you think differently, even just a little bit, hit subscribe, because we're just getting started.
Oh, God. All right, well, what's the thing he wrote here? He wrote stuff. Do you believe in gravity? You believe in gravity, even though you've never seen it. You trust invisible forces shape your reality every single day. So why is believing God considered irrational? Oh, in this video, we explore the gravity analogy. Blah blah. It's just so boy. So it's just so bad. It's just like it's like everything you said was wrong. Amazing. Well done. I'm kind of impressed. We didn't have a running number though. There was 99 bears on the wall and also beers. But at any rate, yeah, just for funsies, just like a bonus because laziness prevails. I'm going to take this transcript here and I'm going to dump it into ChatGPT. Just because, just to see what it does. I'm just going to say analyze it. Now, I have told GPT to behave logically and rationally and only use science. So I've corrupted it. But I'm just literally writing and analyze this and pasting the thing. So, and yeah, just to see. Oh wait, it's not on the screen. Get over here, ChatGPT, just to see what it comes up with. All right, here we go. Let's see. Gravity is not unseen. It's confirmed by measurement, prediction, and mathematical models. I said all that. Wi-Fi and gravity are physical forces that can be detected with instruments. Love and thoughts are brain states. God is a proportional supernatural agency. Treating all the things say is a false analogy. Claiming the universe is fine-tuned is disputed. Depends on unverified assumptions. The conclusion is designed an argument from ignorance. DNA is information only in a metaphorical sense. It's chemistry that follows physical rules. Calling it a code and assuming a coder is compositional fallacy and watchmaker fallacy. Claim that morality is universal and therefore must come from lawgiver is wrong. Morality varies widely. I said that. Claim that randomness cannot create order ignores self-organization, selection, thermodynamics, and evolution. Order emerges in many physical systems. It said all this. Personal experience as evidence for God is subjective. The comparison of gravity fails because gravity can be independently verified. God can't. In this equivocation, the word experience. Overall structure of God of the gaps. When the speaker says randomness cannot do X, provides no proof. Argument from ignorance. Conclusion that God is the best explanation asserted without eliminating natural explanations. It's a hasty conclusion. This is persuasive rhetoric, not science or logic. Thanks, ChatGPT. And I'll just grab the link that I created here and put that in the description, because why not? And that will just, just be there because, it's fun. And it's pretty much everything I said, just about. So, yeah, no to everything he said. Everything he said was wrong, and there was no evidence, no test, and no valid and sound argument. So, for all those reasons, we must be skeptical of his conclusions. Thanks for watching, and hopefully my sleep apnea will, I'll get that under control and stuff. I don't know. So, be not praying for me. Hope that science will prevail. Yeah. All right. Until next time, be skeptical. And after next time, stay skeptical.